I call this Jefferson County Commission meeting to order on Thursday, October 29th, 2020 at 9:30 a.m. We'll open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and Commissioner Nolan, would you lead us in that?
Yes, thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to the first order of business, which is approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Go ahead.
I second.
Yeah.
I'm going to second approval of the minutes, but I do have a couple corrections on first page, 1, 2, 3, fourth line. It says Judson instead of Hudson. So that's just minor. And then on page 3, agenda item number 3, it says a motion seconded and unanimously approved, and then that should be deleted because the sentence after that says motion seconded but fails on a vote of 1 to 4. So just need to delete that first motion seconded and unanimously approved. Is everybody okay with those corrections?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, so I'll ask for a vote on approval of the October 15th minutes with the noted corrections. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion carries unanimously. I didn't hear any. I think I heard everyone. Okay. We'll move on to approval of requisitions for October 29th.
I'll move approval of requisitions for October 29th in the amount of $15,256.58.
Second.
Okay, the motion is to approve requisitions for October 29th, 2020. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving down to accounts payable, October 15th, 2020.
I move we approve accounts payable for October 15th, 2020 in the amount of $513,019.94.
I'll second that. Do we have any questions or discussion on the motion? The motion is to approve accounts payable for October 15th, 2020. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Accounts payable October 22nd.
I'll move approval of accounts payable for October 22nd, 2020 in the amount of $13,502.60.
Second.
Okay. We have any questions or discussion on that motion? The motion on the floor is to approve accounts payable for October 22nd, 2020. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Accounts payable October 29th.
I move we approve accounts payable October 29th, 2020 in the amount of $268,965.91.
Now, I think that's manual checks, Josh. I may be wrong though. I looked at those.
Is it?
I don't know.
Hold
Oh,
on, I'm pulling it up. I had it on my computer and then I had to switch from that screen. So let's.
Yeah, I did that too. Yeah.
I wrote it pretty quick, so you could be right, Patsy.
Yeah, I may be wrong too. We'll see.
I thought it was accounts payable, but yeah.
Yeah, so what's accounts payable? 268,965.91.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
All right. The motion before us is approve accounts payable October 29th, 2020. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We're moving down to manual checks, October 16th.
I move to approve manual checks for October 16th, the amount of $129,874.37.
I'll second that. Do you have any questions? Discussion? Motion is to approve accounts payable, October 16th, 2020. All those
Manual
in-
checks, manual checks.
I'm sorry, what did I say? Approve, the motion is to approve manual checks for October 16th, 2020. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Manual checks for October 23rd.
Okay, I'll move approval of manual checks. This is where the 96,000 is. Manual
Yeah.
check for October 23rd in the amount of $96,511.09.
Second.
Okay. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor of approving manual checks for October 23rd, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Now, manual checks for October 30th. I don't have them, haven't found them, but maybe they've been sent and I've missed them.
Yeah, they
There
were
are-
emailed. Yeah.
Oh, they were? Okay.
I think I have this number right, but double check me because I wrote these down quickly. I'll move approval of manual checks for October 30th, 2020 in the amount of $268,965.91.
So that was actually, that's actually the accounts payable.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
Okay, all right.
yeah.
I stopped. Because I had it up on my computer and
It
then
says check register, but the manual checks, which are actually just the checks that we manually write out. So it says check
Yeah.
register, which is actually the accounts payable, and then it should say manual checks, and we don't have any. It looks like we don't have any manual checks for this week.
Okay.
But we do the agenda before we know that, so we always put them on.
Okay.
Okay. So there's no manual checks for October 30th, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So we will move on to the approval of payroll. And I think this is a typo in the agenda. It says October 5th. I think it should be October 15th.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, let me take a stab at this one. So, I'll move approval of payroll for October 15th in the amount of $274,579.32.
Second.
Okay. Do you have any questions or discussion? All those in favor of approving of payroll for October 15th, 2020, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Madam Administrator, are there any announcements or changes in the agenda?
The only changes that I have is that the policies that are under my report, I will do those next week.
Okay, I was hoping we would get them beforehand, and I don't know what they're about, so.
That's why I'm not doing that today. I'm waiting.
We'll move
There's
on
still
to
revisions, but still, I would like
Yeah.
you to do them before.
have time to digest them. Yeah. We'll move on to public comment and see if there's anyone on the line. And just a reminder, you are limited to 3 minutes. We try to be flexible with the virtual format, but under those conditions.
We don't, I haven't received any written public comment ahead of time. If there's anyone who is attending the meeting who would like to make public comment, use the little raise your hand icon. You click on that and I will unmute you so that you can make public comments. You can also send me a message, and I can unmute you that way too. So if there's anyone who's interested in making public comment, just use the raise your hand function or send me a message and I'll unmute you so you can do that. It looks like we have quite a bit of staff on, but we do have some people from the public attending as well. Doesn't look like we have
Okay.
any takers right now.
Well, if somebody should pop up, then hopefully we can become
Yes,
connected with them and get their public comments.
well,
Yeah, it's sure different than sitting in a room. Yeah, and knowing
yeah,
who's
we have about 12 people, but a lot of them are staff. So.
right. Your entertainment for the day. Okay. So is the assessor available? She's the
She's
next
on
item on the agenda.
here.
Okay. Ms. Banks?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have 3 exonerations. The first one is in our 2020 personal property book, Cabletown District. The applicant did not own the 2014 Mazda, July 1st, 2019, assessed value $4,400, tax amount $100.14. The applicant's name is Dylan Crossley, ticket number 309993.
All right, I move we approve the exoneration ticket number 309993 as outlined by the assessor.
Second.
The motion before us is to approve ticket number 309993 as presented by the assessor. Have any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next.
This next exoneration is in our 2020 personal property book, Charlestown District. Taxpayer did not own the 2007 Ford Focus, July 1st, 2019. Assessed value is $1,000, tax amount $22.76. The applicant's name is Chrissy Smith, ticket number 304325.
I'll move approval of the exoneration for ticket number 304325 as presented by the assessor.
I'll second that. The motion under consideration is to approve the exoneration 304325 as presented by the assessor. Do we have any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All righty. Next.
This
Where is it?
last exoneration is in our 2020 real estate book, Shepherdstown District. The home was owner occupied July 1st, 2019. And it was in class 3, but it should have been class 2. It was a miscommunication. The assessed value is $98,600, tax amount $1,122.07. The taxpayer is Nancy Nichols, ticket number 28692.
I'll move approval for the exoneration for ticket number 28692 as presented by the assessor.
Second.
All right. Motion before us is to approve exoneration ticket number 28692 as presented by the assessor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, that's all of them.
All right. Well, has the rush calmed down at your office?
Yes, we just have a lot of work to do. We are just very busy all the time. So we have a lot of data entry to do and a lot of data to continue to look at.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'm sure it's been interesting with the voter lines also. So the courthouse has been a busy place.
Have a nice
Okay.
day.
All right. You too. I see the sheriff. We're a little ahead of time, but if you're ready, we might as well go ahead.
Yes, ma'am, I'm ready. I have, I think, all good news to give you this morning. The first deals with the governor's highway safety program. As you know, we are regularly asking and need formal commission approval. The highway safety has awarded $95,000 that money is used to provide overtime, directed traffic patrols, not only for us, but for other area law enforcement agencies. We serve as a fiscal agent. Jefferson County does as a fiscal agent. So anyhow, that formal grant amount is coming in the amount of $95,000. Doesn't require anything except for you all to authorize the commission president to sign to receive that money so it can be spent appropriately.
And just for clarity, there's no matching funds required?
There's no match that goes to this. This is all money that goes directly, comes in and goes directly out. And it's a draw system. So there's
Okay,
funding that's held.
okay. I love those grants that have no matching funds required. Well, I'll move to, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Jay. All right, I'll move to approve the acceptance of the Governor's Highway Safety Program Award and authorize the president to affix her signature to the documents.
Second.
Second.
All right. We have the motion before us. Are there any questions or discussion? The motion is to approve the acceptance of the, I'm just going to say GHSP award. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Members of the commission, if you like the first one, you'll love the second one. The second one is the court security grant. This year, because of the economic uncertainty, we proposed to and requested, and you all approved, a request for $35,372 from the court security grant award. Happy to report that we've been told that the full amount has been awarded.
Wow.
There is no match requirement that goes with this. And what this will do is give us three new body scanners, if you will. So as you're coming in, the courthouse doors will have larger, more appropriate scanners that will work well and properly. They'll give us the mag lights or mag locks to provide additional security on some of the courtroom doors that were not appropriately done. And it'll also give us full funding to add additional and improve the camera system at the courthouse. So I'm asking that you again approve that the commission president sign the grant award for $35,372. And what happens under this grant is as we purchase those things to get it to happen, we simply draw the money off the grant. And again,
Okay.
the good news is there's in years gone by, we've always had some match. This year we did not, and got everything we asked for.
Wow, it's unusual.
Yeah, that's really good news. That we can get this equipment without having to provide a grant is really great. So glad you're going after those things, Pete.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead, Patsy.
I'll move to approve the acceptance of the court security grant award and authorize the president to affix her signature to the necessary documents.
Second.
I just am curious, does this cover the St. Margaret's building as well as the historic courthouse, or is it just one or the other?
No, it covers both.
Good, good.
The cameraing covers the whole courthouse complex area, including outside cameras. And because obviously that's one of the things that we're always concerned about. If something happens, do we have some video information that either will help us prevent some tragic event from occurring, or at least give us better information about what happened and who did what. So yes, it covers both buildings.
Yeah, I was just thinking, that's sort of our challenge, is that we have two judicial areas, or courtrooms, court facilities. All right. The motion before.
Jane, I had one question. Somewhere in the last month, somebody asked me a question of how long our tapes are kept over there. I remember.
But normally most of those tapes are kept for 30 days.
All right, thank you.
Oh, okay. All right. The motion before us is to accept the security grant award and authorize the president to sign the necessary documents. Any more questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
The next item deals with, we have a vehicle that we had actually put on the back lot. It's a 2010 Ford Explorer. It has well over 200,000 miles. We were using it sort of if we needed it for emergency purposes. The Bakerton Fire Department came and asked if we had any vehicle that could be used. We took this vehicle out of service because it has some slippage, if you will, in the transmission, and we did not think it was worthwhile getting thousands of dollars to replace that. Chief Smith came out and looked at it. The vehicle seems to be in great condition. Otherwise, it's actually designed and could be used by them when they do water rescues and that kind of stuff. They also have a dog. So this vehicle would be used for those purposes ostensibly. And so we have no immediate need for it. And I'm asking the commission to approve allowing the 2010 Ford Explorer with the last four of the VIN is 5546 to be donated, to be transferred to the Bakerton Fire Department.
Well, that certainly with that amount of mileage doesn't sound like putting a new transmission in is, money wise, a wise decision. So I'll make the motion to approve the vehicle donation to Bakerton Fire Department from the Sheriff's Department, and it is a 2010 Ford Explorer.
Second.
All right. Have any questions or discussion? The motion on the floor is to approve the vehicle donation to Bakerton Fire Department of a 2010 Ford Explorer. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. The next item deals with the intergovernmental agreement that we have with the Corporation of Bolivar. I'm not sure exactly sort of how we do this procedurally, but basically what Bolivar has asked is to have another deputy. Now, as you recall, when we did the first intergovernmental agreement, it really didn't identify a person, and this doesn't identify a person. But what Bolivar is looking for, and they explored other options, they came back and said, hey, we would like to have an intergovernmental agreement with the county that would add a deputy to there. And the idea of this is we would take a deputy who would work basically day shift, a Monday through Friday, who would be assigned, if you will, to Bolivar. So they would spend most of their day in Bolivar, not necessarily all of their day, but a good portion of their day in Bolivar. And by doing this, what they do is they pick up the full cost of the deputy, in effect, plus. And that will obviously, let me tell you the good part, what it does for us. First of all, it does good things for Bolivar because it gives them a face and a presence in their community that they're looking to have, particularly their businesses are looking for. It also then gives us, as the bigger part of the county, a deputy who will normally be in that part of the county. Because I can tell you on any given day, we normally get a call or two or more of people who are perhaps driving recklessly or fleeing or coming into the area. And a lot of times if they're coming from the Charlestown area and heading that way, we don't have anybody who's in front of them. This way we will have someone who will be there in front of them. And so what this does, again, is I'm asking you to approve the intergovernmental agreement so it can be sent off to the Attorney General's office, which has to sign it. But again, I'm asking you to approve it because I think what this does is gives us the ability to add greater protection to that part of the county and particularly to the Corporation of Bolivar, and has no negative impact. And matter of fact, it probably has a positive impact both financially and service wise for the county.
Commissioner Tab, may I speak for a second?
Yes, I was going to ask you.
Okay. Yes, and the sheriff brought this to my attention. The council for Bolivar prepared a draft. I revised, edited it just a little bit. And anyway, we have a draft prepared for signature. I have sent you a copy of this draft in your email just a little bit ago.
Oh.
And if the commission approves it, then we will have a draft with signature lines that we will get your designee to sign. So if you want to approve this, then I suggest that the commission designate perhaps you, Ms. Tab, or whoever, to come by the office and sign the original document. And then we will place it in the record.
Okay, thank you for that. Does
Nathan,
anyone? Sure.
I have a question for Nathan. I know it's all been a ball of wax down in Harpers Ferry, Bolivar. Is there anything going on between the two cities now that the council's changed, or is everything just the same?
Or I don't know that Nathan's not been involved in the conversations with the Corporation of Bolivar. He's not attended the meetings. He may add something to it, but I can tell you that Bolivar and Harpers Ferry had several conversations, and they have not been satisfied that they can come up with an agreement between the two municipalities on doing this, and that's why we sort of held back for a while, and then they came forward and said, yes, we'd like to get this to occur, and they've been very satisfied with what we've been able to do with the equivalent of one position, and things would just be better for two.
And I have nothing further to add to that, Commissioner Lorenzetti.
My second question is sort of a liability question. I assume the deputy understands that he works for the sheriff. He doesn't work for the mayor or whatever.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And in the original agreement, this is an addendum. The way that we drafted this is an addendum to the original agreement, so they work together. I assume that when the time comes to renew these, if the parties choose to renew them, we'll incorporate them all into one agreement. But in the original agreement, it does say that, in effect, that the sheriff, is still in charge of the deputies and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
And just for my own clarification, I assume, all expenses are paid for this staff person, including insurance, retirement, and all those benefits?
Yes. The employee works for us. He's just basically assigned to do the duties, and he actually, Bolivar is gracious enough to give us a place that the deputy could actually work out of their office.
Good.
We have that provided by them, but everything else, the uniform, they're not wearing a Bolivar uniform. They're not that. They're a sheriff's deputy who's just simply assigned to Bolivar.
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't really change anything except they're just being designated there and spending more time there than maybe they normally would.
And what we did, commissioners, I think this is a helpful thing. This is something Bolivar was looking for as well, is we said basically we would use, this deputy would be day shift. And one of the things that they were concerned about, which I think is helpful for all of us, is particularly as we get schools going back into place, we didn't set a time as to what time the schedule would be for the deputy, except during sort of 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. normally. And one of the things that the Bolivar, the mayor and council were looking for is they wanted to have somebody who would spend some time at the school. And so that will be sort of one of the things that person will do. And will also help with traffic, particularly in the afternoons when school and buses, parents are picking up kids and buses are leaving as well. So I think that's an added advantage that this gives us on all sides.
Okay. Well, I'll make the motion to accept the modified intergovernmental agreement with the town of Bolivar and authorize the president to affix her signature.
Second,
All right. We've already had discussion. Is there any more or any more questions? All those in favor of the motion to accept the modified intergovernmental agreement with the town of Bolivar and with the sheriff's department, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I didn't hear everybody on that last motion, so I'm waiting to hear, but I'm hopefully everybody voted. I just can't hear it. All right, so the motion carried unanimously. Yes. All right. Anything else, Sheriff?
Yeah, I just want to let you know that as a result of this, I will be coming to you about two other issues going forward. One is related to obviously having, and since Bolivar's picking up the pay, we would obviously we're looking to hire another deputy. And again, that would come at no detrimental cost to the county. And would also allow us, and the other is that the Safe Streets, the Regional Drug Violent Crimes Task Force has come and they are asking to have a deputy come from the sheriff's office to work with the Regional Drug Task Force and Violent Crimes Unit. And I have been, I'm amenable to doing that. And that would come as it does with the current deputy that is assigned. They've asked us to do this in the past, but we would pay. They now have an opportunity for them to pay the full cost and benefits and everything for that deputy. And again, I will be coming back to you to hire a deputy behind that position. And again, that would be a seasoned deputy who would be reassigned, and the deputy who would be hired at a lesser cost. So I think, again, for budget purposes, it works well for us because not only do they pay the full salary, but they pay up to $1,500, authorize up to $1,500 in overtime for that deputy to work. So it gives us an extra person on the regional task force who's got familiarity with Jefferson County and going forward. So I wanted to sort of give you that information today because next week I'll be coming to you about that issue.
Now, is this funding for this staffing position? Is this for 1 year, 2? I mean, do we know how long?
It's basically a permanent position.
Okay.
I mean, it's
Okay.
as any of us who have ever worked with the federal government know, subject to the availability of appropriations, but that program hasn't been cut, and I don't see anything coming down the horizon that would cut that position. And so I'm assuming that deputy or that position, if you will be there for years to come. We've had somebody up there for more than a dozen years already being paid underneath the federal government. So the guy, again, the good news is that while the task force has asked us to try to do something like this before, it was always like we'd pay and they'd give us like some reimbursement for time. And I said, we can't do that. We have too many demands on us now. This way, what it does, it gives us no loss of manpower and gives us another person on the regional task force who has greater familiarity with Jefferson County, which I think will help us, particularly on the large drug dealing issues that come forward. So I'm not asking you to take any action today. I just I wanted to sort of prep you for what I'll be talking to you about next week.
Well, and my other concern is, I mean, I'm glad we have this position with no required match or anything. But is there a vehicle that will need to be purchased for this person?
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Tabb, very good question. No, they provide the vehicle.
Okay, I love it then.
The task force pays for all that. I mean, obviously the person going already has a uniform from us and so on, but basically they provide all the extras, including they pay for the vehicle that the task force member works with.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I am solidly behind this now. It just seems like there's always a hook in some of these programs, but that sounds marvelous. Does anyone else have questions or comments?
No, I just echo your sentiments, Commissioner Tab. I think anytime they provide everything and it doesn't cost the county and we're getting better coverage and solving crimes, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
I'll just comment that when I was prosecutor, the task force was very helpful.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly a problem that needs to be addressed across jurisdictional lines. So, okay. Any other questions for the sheriff?
Done here.
Okay. All right.
I also want, let me just make one mention. I mean, obviously with early voting and the election day stuff and other things that are going on, I've had a conversation with Stephanie and with Michelle. We probably need to make some adjustment in the budget because our court security requirements and having trials that begin where we have to bring people in to the Ranson Civic Center in order to seat a jury and that kind of stuff is bringing a problem. But I think that that's something that can be handled very easily. And it's also something I think that under the funding that you all get reimbursement for COVID related, this won't actually cost the county any direct money. But as you all know, those of us who are leaving office have to try to leave our budgets in good shape for the next person taking the office. So we'll be coming back to you at some point to make an adjustment for that.
Well, and just what I have seen on the early voting and the lines and the need for bailiffs and so additional staffing, to watch the lines and take care of folks that might be handicapped and need to be, their needs met also for voting, that it does take a lot more personnel than just normally people standing in line. So, all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. As I think I see Mr. Anderson on the screen, Executive Director of American Red Cross. Please go ahead with your agenda item number 3.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, thank you to the commission for having me on the agenda this morning. I'm Eric Anderson. I was previously the Executive Director for Red Cross of Western Maryland. And then in recent months, the Red Cross underwent a territory realignment. So I'm now Executive Director of the Red Cross of Greater Shenandoah Valley. So that encompasses Washington County, Maryland, the 5 counties in West Virginia, mostly encompassing Eastern Panhandle, and then the top of Virginia, 5 counties. So we now instead of running from east-west, we've run north-south. So recently, and I believe some of the commissioners are aware, between that realignment, which now puts 3 offices within our chapter, we've been utilizing the Kearneysville office less and less, and it's been more recently staffed primarily by volunteers. But most of the response at Kearneysville and in Jefferson County has been for the on-site disaster storage that we have. So the convex container outside, the shed that's got disaster supplies, and the response vehicle that's on site. So the National Red Cross and Real Estate recently made the decision to close the Kearneysville office because we have some chapters that are struggling to have 1 office. So they thought us having 3 within our territory might be a bit excessive. So last week we took steps to close that office and to move out. And I think that the final piece of that is today. But the request that we have to you is, as I mentioned, on site, you do have that convex trailer that is housing cots and blankets and emergency supplies in the event of a larger scale disaster, and then the shed that contains supplies for responses to, for instance, home fires and flooding, flood cleanup kits, and a lot of the paperwork and forms that we utilize to respond to a fire. And our disaster program manager, Jesse Hott, spoke with Steve Allen, and we put forth this request. So our request is whether the commission would consider allowing us to retain that trailer and that shed and that response vehicle on site. So that way, when we have our disaster volunteers responding to emergencies in Jefferson County, it gives them a closer resource than having to come to Hagerstown or Winchester.
Okay. All right. Well, this makes sense to me. Having worked out in the building where the Red Cross office is, I know they these storage, the trailer and the shed, are not blocking parking or taking up valuable space. And the same thing with the Red Cross. I call it the van, the big box van. So I think it makes sense to leave them there and have our volunteers have access to them, because as we all know, the faster you get it, the faster you can help some folks.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll just go ahead to start the conversation and more questions. I'll make the motion to allow the American Red Cross of the Greater Shenandoah Valley to maintain its emergency response presence in Jefferson County by permitting the continued Red Cross use of the Wilshire Road exterior location for the purpose of keeping the Red Cross convex trailer, disaster storage shed, and the Red Cross response vehicle on site.
I'll second that motion, and I do have a question. I guess they're secure out there. There's no danger as long as there's no danger of vandalism or anything like that. As they're securely locked.
So yes, they are securely locked, and so all of them there's a passcode to get into those three, both the vehicle as well as the shed. The vehicle has there's access to the vehicle via a lockbox, and so if there was any concern about vandalism, it would be to the exterior of those items, but the interior should be fairly secure. And we went through that process last week, and so that was it was a good test for me. So I feel very confident the items are secure.
Okay, and just so the commission, because it is commission property, we won't be liable for anything that would occur to the equipment or the property.
That was my question too, what liability we would hold or be responsible for if we enter into this.
And I think we could create, oh, there's Nathan. I'll let you take it, Nathan.
Would you like to do some sort of very simple agreement to say that with the Red Cross? I assume
Yes.
Mr. Anderson wouldn't be opposed to that.
That was good.
So since this is my first time interacting with the commission, who would be my best person to speak with about drafting such an agreement? I'd be quite happy to do that. Okay.
Mr. Cochran.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cochran.
Great.
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah. With that said, yeah, I'm good.
Well, I shall make an amendment to my motion with to allow it, but with the some sort of a liability agreement by both the commission and the Red Cross drafted to cover any possibilities. Can I have a second to that amendment?
Oh, yes, that's the second.
All right. Do we have any more questions or discussion? And I'll just read the motion again. And it's to allow the American Red Cross of the Greater Shenandoah Valley to maintain its emergency response presence in Jefferson County by permitting the continued Red Cross use of the Wiltshire Road exterior location for the purpose of keeping the Red Cross convex trailer, disaster storage shed, and Red Cross response vehicle on site, accompanied with an agreement on liability issues drafted by Mr. Cochran and agreed to by the American Red Cross. Do we have any more questions or discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to finish. I just want to thank so Terry Mailing, who I'm sure a lot of you know, and has been a very active volunteer with us. So Terry Mailing and then Laura Kuhn there within Jefferson County. For the newcomer here, they were both extremely helpful in getting me in front of you. So just very much appreciated to both of them for doing that.
Okay, well, that's
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you. Thanks.
yeah. And I know
Best
Terry's been a
wishes.
very, very long time volunteer with American Red Cross, and she was also a staff member with our Homeland Security for a time. And then Laura Kuhn, maintenance director. Glad to know they're all doing good jobs. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you both. Thank you very much.
Okay. Let's see. We're somewhat early, 15 minutes early. Is Mr. Wallen with Gordon Associates online, or do we need to wait for that?
He is here.
Okay. Oh, there you are, Mr. Wallen. All right. I haven't explained this to folks that are presenting, but we have 3 commissioners that have their cameras on, and we have 2 commissioners attending by phone. So that may, if you don't know that, that might surprise you when somebody's voice pops up. So, Mr. Wallen, the floor is yours.
Good morning, and thank you for taking time to listen to our request this morning. This is the beginning of the process for a rezoning for a parcel located outside of Shepherdstown on Route 45. It's across from the Maddox Square Shopping Center. The request we're coming before you today is to start the process and refer this to the Planning Commission for recommendation on comprehensive plan compliance, and to schedule a public hearing before the County Commission on the rezoning request. We have spoken with staff, and they have indicated probably the earliest we could get before you for a public hearing would be December 17th. And then the Planning Commission would be December 8th.
Well, this is Patsy. And
Hello, Patsy.
I have an issue with those dates. It's during the holidays, and the commission and excuse me, has been taken to task before for scheduling these things during holidays. And I know if there's not a legal requirement that it be done during the holidays, then I think it needs to be done at a different time.
And Commissioner Nolan, unfortunately for your concern, there has to be a public hearing within 60 days of the date that they requested. That's under 8879.
Yeah,
So
I thought
that's
so.
where we are.
Yeah, so I know the timing of presenting these things has a lot to do with the dates that public hearings occur. And just for the record, I think that's not really fair, because the public oftentimes is not paying attention. That's just my 2 cents worth.
Well, Mr. Cochran, if it has to be held before the Planning Commission within 60 days, is that correct?
Before the County Commission, because he's
Before
presenting.
oh.
See, we're just sending it to the Planning Commission for their their determination regarding the comprehensive plan that they make.
Yeah, that doesn't leave as much wiggle room, does it?
Yeah,
I was thinking.
I
to
think
go to-
that Jenny is online and she may have some comments on dates. I thought she was online.
Ms. Brockman, are you online?
Let me see if I can
And
find her.
just Mr. Wallen, it's not, we're not saying that any of us are opposed to this, but it's just, we want to make sure the public,
Okay,
you know,
can you hear me now?
yeah.
Yes, we
it's just-
can. Sorry about that, Jenny.
Okay. I was like, I don't know how to, we use Zoom and it's really different, so.
Yeah,
We, it is possible for us to put it on our November agenda. It is just an extremely full agenda. But if that's the only thing that'll work for you, we could do that. Our preference was it be on our December 8th meeting for the planning commission to have the time to do the review for compliance with the comp plan. But if you, the problem with the November meeting is November 10th, then you run into Thanksgiving as well. So I don't know if that helps you. We were just hoping to put it on the December meeting because we've got so many things on our November meeting already.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that it's just an unfortunate time to hold public hearings because everybody is busy and they're not paying attention. And so
yeah.
just want to give the public an opportunity to be able to at least know what's going on. And I know lots of time it has to be their responsibility, but I think advertising these things is so important. Just somehow be able to get to the public and let them know what's going on. And I know that's our responsibility. They also have a responsibility to read the ads, but just don't want to get caught, accusing the commission of doing something wrong when there's a time factor involved. That's my only complaint.
I agree with you, Patsy. My only concern is, are we going to have a December 31st meeting? Because this may put us off to like January 7th.
Well, 60 days would, the last time you could have it would be December 17th.
Well, I understand that, but things happen, snowstorms, whatever else. So 60 days sounds good. But what I'm saying
State
is,
law. It's a state law that you have to do it within 60 days.
I understand, but life is not perfect.
If it's virtual, isn't it? We can do it whenever, even in a snowstorm. I mean, if it's a snowstorm and we have internet, we can still do it.
Right, yeah. Virtual does make it a little easier, but in that sense.
Yeah. Okay, so, but it has to come to the commission within 60 days, not just to the planning commission. Am I correct in that, Ms. Brockman?
Yes, that's correct. The planning commission, when we use this process, the planning commission does not hold a public hearing. You hold the only required public hearing within 60 days of the date of the petition, but you have to refer it to the planning commission for them to review it in conformance to the comprehensive plan.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. So we would have to do the public hearing within 60 days. That is, yeah,
Yes.
that's tough. Okay.
Does
Well,
the decision have to be made in 60 days?
You have to have a public hearing.
no, we don't
You
have
do
to
not
make,
a decision within 60 days.
so. And would we have the opportunity to schedule a second hearing?
I guess you can schedule anything that you want to schedule, but there just has to be a public hearing within 60 days.
60 days. Okay. Well,
I
if
mean, I
that's
guess if you could leave it open, to a follow-up public hearing, or I don't know exactly how that works.
yeah.
I
Yes,
think
Mr.
what is
Wallen?
typical- Yeah, I think what is typical on these is once the public hearing is held, and the previous ones I've been involved with, the county commission holds open the public hearing for 2 weeks and then make their decision the following week. So that would allow for additional comments to be received the following 2 weeks after the public hearing.
Yes.
That was my understanding of the process.
Right. Well, and that's typically what happens, but sometimes as the solar amendments have just proven, we've had numerous workshops and so forth. So I do believe we might have some latitude. I'm just share the concern of it happening during the Christmas
Understood.
holiday and people being caught unaware, and then we get tarred and feathered. So, all righty. Well, thank you all for answering those questions. I'm waiting on a motion. Anybody want to make a motion? Are we required to make a motion from the day, from when it's presented to us?
I think you would, I mean, I don't know about being required, but I think you should set a date for a public hearing, you know, within 60 days. That's what I think you should do.
I think your staff needs to know because they have to run the ad, you know. So
They have to advertise it, you know, and things like that.
About December 3rd. I'll make the motion. I move we set a public hearing December 3rd in regard to the agenda item outlined in our discussion.
Second.
Okay. Motion is before us to set the public hearing. Well, I guess our
And
motion should.
Commissioner Tabb, could I just question, question Jenny, that gives you time to place it on the November Planning Commission docket, correct?
yes, I mean, we have to do it.
I know that wasn't your druthers,
Yeah,
but that
yes.
gives you time.
We can put it
Okay,
on.
that's all. I just wanted to make
put it
sure.
on our November 10th Planning Commission agenda.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
And if that agenda is too packed, could you ask the planning commission to have a second meeting that month or a meet before
I
December?
probably could do that, yes, if it does seem like it's, it is, the difference is it's not a public input
Right.
at the planning commission, so it's more the preparation for the staff to get a staff report done than it is the time of the meeting, but we'll do it. We'll get it on the November 10th.
November is a tough month because there's a lot of holidays.
Holidays.
I think the motion, or maybe a separate motion, needs to say that you're referring it to the planning commission for a determination about conformance with the comprehensive plan.
That's right.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll amend my motion to, we were referring it to the planning commission to make sure it's in compliance with the comprehensive plan and subsequently schedule a public hearing December 3rd.
Before the county commission, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. All right. That's a motion, and that was by Mr. Compton, and it was seconded by Mr. Hudson, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the motion before us is to accept the zoning map amendment request, refer it to the Planning Commission for review of the comprehensive plan on their November 10th meeting review the comprehensive plan consistency at their November 10th meeting and schedule a public hearing before the county commission on December 3rd. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
I'm going to say nay.
Okay. The motion carries 4-1. And Mr. Wallen, thank you for your presentation, and we'll see how this all goes through the holiday season. So it's no comment on, what you're proposing. It's just a scheduling issue for some of us.
Understood. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We're running ahead for these appointments, and maybe those folks aren't on. I'm trying to think of anything else we can take care of while we're I don't see much we can take care of that's not already scheduled.
I have something that's just kind of for your information. Well, not for your, we've had 2 clerks leave in the in planning and zoning. And I know that we have a hiring freeze, but we lost 2 of them within a couple of weeks with each other. And so they wanted to hire 1 back now, even despite the hiring freeze. And I told them perhaps they could do that, but I wouldn't do it unless the commission were comfortable. And of course, we'd have to bring the hire to you and you'd have to vote on the actual hire, but I don't want them to advertise it if there's a chance that the commission is going to say, well, we're in a hiring freeze and we're not going to hire right now. So we're down now 2 and we just want to hire back 1 at this. And if it had just been the 1, we wouldn't have requested.
Well, Stephanie, how many are in? Are there only 2 in the office? I mean, how?
No, there's 1 more in the office for planning. So they have 1 right now doing all of zoning and all of.
Okay.
Well, I know how busy they are. There's a lot of new stuff that seems to be coming in, and I know that they're really busy. So, you know, they've lost 2. I don't have a problem with rehiring or hiring 1 person at this point. They have to get the work done. There are timeframes in a lot of these applications that come before them, and so I don't have a problem with hiring 1 back. I think it's necessary.
Fine by me.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem. I hope the COVID bill gets passed in Congress sometime. That would help our budget feel better for the next few months.
Yeah. I'm okay with it. I think we've heard from everyone. Commissioner Hudson, do you have any thoughts on this? Commissioner Hudson, do you have any comments on Stephanie's proposal to hire?
Right. Yeah, I said that's fine. It's my comment.
Okay. All right, good. All right. So I think you have an informal unanimous consent to.
Yeah, that's all I'm looking for. It's just before we advertise, knowing that something that the county commission would at least consider. I don't want to bring someone in here and then, not have the commission even considering having that one of the positions.
No, and it is kind of it's surprising that, of course, I know some of it's the interest rates and so forth, but there is so much going on in planning and zoning now when other businesses are absolutely struggling.
Yeah, our building permits are going crazy. So.
And just another informal request, and I know Michelle is so good at tracking all these additional COVID expenses. I assume there are ways they are, or she is, and the clerk's office are, and the sheriff working on what additional steps have been necessary for COVID early voting, and that especially the personnel can be reimbursed through the COVID grants.
So some of that is, there is a separate, I believe, COVID grant for just the election. And then we have included, I asked Michelle, and I think she's online too. I asked her that to include bailiff time in our CARES Act reimbursements, because we have had to put some additional bailiffs out there, both to do the screening and certainly during the election to walk through the line and keep an eye on people and, look out for people who need assistance and things like that. So I know for her last submission, she did include the additional time and additional bailiffs that we were using.
Okay.
She may have.
That was everything. You got it. You got it.
Okay.
Nikki, her elections information for a separate grant reimbursement from the state, and then I did submit the bailiff's time beginning in September for reimbursement because of the extra amount that they've been having to do.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Yeah. I imagine the lines are not as long today with the rain, but I've just been so impressed with people going in for early voting. I mean, and the staff has been done a great job. So
there's no one outside my office now, but I can tell you this morning it was wrapped around my office again, even though everyone was standing there with umbrellas. So I don't see one out there now. I don't know where. I don't have a view to the front, but it was wrapped around the building this morning again.
Well,
I think for the next presidential, maybe the 2-year election, we'll have to look at possibility of another location or second location.
I mean, we have the power to do that, correct?
My understanding, we do.
You
I don't-
do, but yes. There's, with the timeframes, the problem with moving the primary election forward is that it didn't change any of the other timeframes. And I don't think even during the primary, we had an indication that the early voting would be like this. Certainly, we didn't experience early voting like this in the primary, but because of the timeframes, it's very early on that you have to choose that second location. So the timeframes have well passed to add a second location now. But yeah, you do have the
It's
ability.
impossible now, but I think we're going to have to start planning, not necessarily the primaries, but for the general elections, especially the presidential ones where it's contested.
Yeah. Now, does that require us, and this is, we're just waiting for 10:45, but does that require us that it has to be located in Charlestown? I mean, is there
No, the second
stipulations on that?
The second location does not. You still have to vote within the courthouse annex, and that's one of our problems. The line is exacerbated by COVID because of the amount of machines that we can set up inside the courthouse, which is a small area anyway. So I talked to Nikki, and they're able to process voter, they have an average of a 1-minute processing time per voter, but then it takes, voters longer to vote. We have a lot of first-time voters who have never voted before, so they're kind of figuring out, what the process is. So the line is exacerbated because we have less machines in the courthouse. So the first location has to be within the courthouse or the courthouse annex, and then you can have a second location in the county somewhere else.
Oh, anywhere in the county.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, but it has to be advertised. So most people, there are counties now that have second locations, and I just want to be clear that those counties didn't do that for this election. They've always had second locations because they're either a large county or a very populated county. So you may hear, Mon County is a large county. I think Kanawha County has multiple voting locations, but they have always had multiple voting locations. That didn't change for this election. It's just that the county is either so large that, travel to the courthouse from one end of the county is difficult, or they have large populations that one place could never accommodate the entire population. So if you're hearing that other counties have, I'm not aware of any county that changed it just for COVID or just for this election. It's that they have always done that because of other circumstances. But you certainly have the ability to do it. There are some timeframes. There are some ads that need to go out in the paper. You need to get both executive committees to agree to the second location, or how many ever locations you can have if you want. And you also have to pay for the staffing to staff
more staff
there.
You're muted, Patsy.
Right, okay. I have a question, and it has to do with campaign signs on county property. I removed one on Sunday when I came back from Charleston. I removed one that was on the property right behind the little yellow building there. It was in the grassy area right beside the first parking spot. So I'm assuming that no one had any authorization to put any signs on courthouse property.
We would never.
I know. I've done this long enough that we've never done that, and I can't imagine we ever would. But I did remove one, and so just in case anyone's after me and the sign for removing a sign, I did it. I know other people have been charged for removing campaign signs. And it's my understanding that they weren't authorized either, but I'll leave it at that. But I just wanted to know that whoever put it there to know that I put it beside the dumpster. And if they want to retrieve it, I don't know if it's still there or not, but that's where I put it. And I do have a couple of other things I'd like to say about my trip to Charleston. I mean, one was I broke down on the way. I drove one of the 2006 cars. I broke down on the way in Weston. And that was an ordeal, just getting a rental car and finishing my trip. But I went to Charleston because of a courthouse facility improvement authority was reviewing grant applications, and that's when that committee votes to give grants to courthouses that qualify for the funding. And so while I was there, I received this plaque. Let me see if I can get it up there. I received this plaque. I've been on that committee actually before it was even formed. I was appointed to the committee that went to visit courthouses in this region and just to determine what the needs were. And then the report was sent back to the legislature, and we worked with the legislature to get the legislation that allowed for funding courthouses. So, and I was on that committee until I became a county commissioner, and then I was replaced by the County Commissioners Association. But they later asked me if I would be secretary. So I still get to participate in those meetings, and it's one of my most proud accomplishments during my tenure as a county official, because that all happened when I was circuit clerk. So anyway, and the plaque says, for your many years of commitment to our board of directors and to ensuring that historic courthouses in the great state of West Virginia were maintained. So I'm really proud of this, and I'm certainly going to hold it always in a special place in my heart. And I also was presented by the West Virginia Association of Counties with a Living Monuments book that has all of the courthouses featured in it. And it's a beautiful book, beautifully done, and really, really happy to receive that too. And I just want to say that Courthouse Facilities Improvement Authority, over a period of this, it was actually started in 2001, and over a period of those years, we have given given grants that total, I don't have the figure in front of me right now, but somewhere around $36 million to courthouses throughout the state that qualify in their applications to receive the grant funding. So it's always tough. We always get a lot more requests than we have money to do. There's a scoring system in place, and it really, it's such a great program. We were defunded somewhat by the legislature this year with the $15 that we used to get for concealed carry permits. That went, $15 of that went to courthouse facilities. So we were defunded that amount. It's made a big impact in the amount that we're able to dole out every year or to award grants for. But hopefully we'll be able to replace that with something in the coming years. So that was a real not a good thing for to be able to help courthouses maintain these old buildings. But they're a huge source of pride, I think, in all of our counties, to those of us who work in the counties and those of us who live there and appreciate history. So anyway, that's all I have to say, and it's almost 10:45. But I did want to share that with everyone because it's important to me, and I hope it gives everyone sort of a sense of some of the work that is done, between the local and the state level to help counties.
Congratulations, Patsy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, and recognition well deserved.
Well, thank you.
Congrats.
Thanks.
We all know ourselves, most importantly with historic courthouses, how hard it is and costly to maintain them, but also, adjust to the changing requirements and, all that. It's tough, but they are beautiful buildings, and certainly preserve history too. Okay. Anyone else have any other quick comments? It is almost 10:45. I'll ask again at another break in our meeting or at the end. But thank you for sharing that, Patsy.
And I just wanted to let you know that I had a staff member who does have a front view of the window, and they said the lines are as long as ever, that it was to the court, despite the fact that it's raining. So
wow. Yeah. Well, give everybody credit. all
I
the
know.
voters that are standing in line. Yep.
That's awesome. I've never seen this in all my
I've never
years. I've never seen this many people standing in line to early vote. And, I've been around a long time. So I'm glad to see it. I'm glad people are taking their responsibility, and it is their responsibility seriously, and their desire to try to at least encourage other people to vote too.
Well, and the other thing is that why perhaps people feel things are going slowly, not only because of COVID restrictions, but it's a long ballot. I mean, it's a lot to go through, and if you're reading everything, it is really time consuming from that. It's not a simple ballot. So, okay. I'm at agenda item number 5, interviews and appointments to the County Board of Zoning Appeals for a BZA alternate position. And we've got 3 slots. So Stephanie, is Miss Shrimshock on the line?
Yes.
There you are. Hi, Michaela.
Hello. Can you
Hi.
hear me?
Yes. Now, say your last name. I probably butchered it.
It was perfect. Shremshock, just like it's spelled.
Okay. All right. So generally, we start these interviews with each of the commissioners asking you a question or two and perhaps doing follow-up. And you are our only applicant this morning. I don't think anybody submitted anything last minute. So Michaela, can you tell me your understanding of what a BZA, Board of Zoning Appeals alternate position entails?
So the Board of Zoning Appeals considers applications for variances or changes requested to the zoning structure of the Jefferson County, and then the alternate position fills in whenever one of the members of the board is unable to attend a regularly scheduled planning meeting.
It was, well, I'll let others ask questions, but I have a little bit different thought on the alternate position, but I'm not sure if I'm correct, so I'll ask for clarification next. Any other commissioners?
Well, I'll ask the question on your resume and things. It talks about NANA, which is small things. How does that relate to big things like houses and zoning and those type things?
I realize that my resume does not have a real estate or any sort of development background listed on it. I left the science on there just to indicate that I am familiar with a rigorous process of research and establishing rules and following them to come to a consensus of what is a good understanding of scientific procedures. You can't just go willy-nilly deciding things without a framework or a structure, and that's the same thing that we do in science. We have a framework, a hypothesis, we test it, see if that works. As that relates to the Planning Commission, I think the same thing has been done with, we have this structure and zone that we want to see achieved for Jefferson County, having plenty of development, but also retaining the character and structure of the farmland and rural areas. And we're kind of testing and experimenting with different ways of utilizing the land to get the most economic and cultural use out of it.
Thank you.
I have a question. This is Patsy, and thank you for applying. Do you have a particular feeling about the legislation that was enacted this year with regard to tourism districts?
Which legislation was that?
It's the one where the legislature authorized the creation of tourism districts without any input from municipalities, if the municipality is of a certain size. So it had to actually, it had to do with the Hilltop House, and that's where it's not it doesn't say Hilltop House in the legislation, but that's when it all occurred. So do you have a position or a feeling that you would share with us about that that situation?
I think these issues are really complicated, right? I don't think there's an easy choice that's going to make everyone happy. So there has to be some sort of compromise. I honestly, I only know about the issue from what I've read in the paper and from talking to people. And it has become such an emotional issue for people that I don't think I can give a fair assessment of what I think should or shouldn't be done, or whether that is the right or wrong thing. I think there are arguments on both sides. What is best for the general population of the area? So I apologize. I'm really not educated well enough on all the little nuances of it to make a stand. And like I said, a lot of these issues have now become so emotional that it's hard to find the facts and the truth underlying everything.
That's for sure. And it's that way with every single controversial issue. So it's nothing that, and it's not, and none of us who sit on this commission are strangers to any of that. But so let me just ask you in a different way. How do you feel about Hilltop House being built in Harpers Ferry? I see you are a Harpers Ferry resident.
I am. I live in Bakerton though, so I just have the zip code.
Close enough.
Yeah, my perspective is a little different because I'm relatively new here. I've been here since 2013, but I've been in West Virginia my whole life. So, I mean, I like the idea of seeing development and care taken of our historic structures. I think, having an abandoned property, while it might be nice to take pictures this time of year of it and tell ghost stories, it's not really what we want people to think of whenever they think of our region. We want them to think of beauty and character and historic significance. And I think with some regulation and structure around it, having a beautiful place on that hilltop would be very nice.
Thank you.
Okay. Just so Michaela knows, there's 2 other commissioners on the phone line that may ask you questions. Are there any other questions for Michaela?
I mean, this is Commissioner Compton hiding out on the phone lines. Just a quick thing, as far as county zoning, in your opinion, has there been a failure in county zoning? And if so, what was that failure in regard?
So I actually found out about this position when there was a zoning appeals posted on the road that I live near. And it came up during that discussion about the zoning appeal that some of the zoning is not, it's not written well at all. So, this happens all the time, right? You come up with a set of rules and you think they're ironclad, you don't see any holes in them. But then the first one you get, it turns out, oh, well, clearly you can just circumvent it like this, and that's not really what we intended. So I think there's just a little bit of, I don't think there's any failures. I think there could be some better work to clarify what the zoning is intended to be without limiting what can be done with land.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions for Michaela? Well, I too want to thank you for applying. We're always looking for folks to serve, and this BZA sometimes has some very tough decisions to make. So whatever the answer is, it's not going to please everyone, and we've all been there. So I do appreciate you applying.
Thank you all very much for your time, and thank you for your service to the county as well.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to make, excuse me, I'm going to make the motion that we appoint Michaela to the BZA alternate position. We have our choice. We have one expiring in January in the 21, 22, or 23. I'm in the midst of a motion, but I'm going to ask Michaela a question. Do you have a preference for the length of service you want to commit to initially?
Well, either the 22 or 23 position.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure because, January 21 is really nothing. So
It's really,
let me start my motion again. I move that we appoint Michaela Schrim-Schock to the Jefferson County Board of Zoning Appeals as an alternate position expiring on January 1, 2023.
Second.
Okay. The motion has been made and seconded. Any more discussion among commissioners? All those in the favor of the motion to appoint Michaela Schrimschock as an alternate to the BZA for a term expiring on January 2023, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
thank you very much for applying. It seems like these positions are the hardest to fill. We have 2 other alternate positions that are open. And so thank you very much for your interest and your application.
Thank you guys for your consideration. I really appreciate it. I look forward to serving.
Well,
Okay.
and I'm glad to get a young person serving on some, and we need more young people to serve on some of these boards, but I know it's a time issue for many. And you will need to be sworn in by the county clerk before you can officially serve.
Okay.
So if you have any questions about that process, the county clerk's really busy with elections now. You can call the county commission and get more information.
Commissioner Taft,
Yes.
quick question, just out of curiosity, what's your benchmark for a young?
I wasn't going to ask that.
Well, I'm just curious.
No, I said younger than me.
Okay.
Young at heart, if nothing else, then young at heart.
What's your benchmark, Josh?
No comment.
Right?
Younger than I am too.
That's okay. All right. Okay. We're nearly at 11 o'clock and I believe, Mr. Hill on the camera. And is Jennifer going to be on too? Ms. Myers?
Yes, Jennifer should be on.
Okay, well, we'll wait a second.
She's here. I see her. She just hasn't unmuted herself yet.
Okay.
Oh, there she goes. Here she comes.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yep, we've got you.
Okay, sorry, we were having technical issues here.
No, I understand. So for the public, this is Jennifer Myers. Oh, now you're on camera, and Mr. David Hill from Jefferson County Parks and Recreation, and we are on item number 6, which is an update. Okay, all right. I know this isn't going to be good news, but we need to hear it and move forward.
Be positive. Be positive.
Oh, well, I just meant financially, it's not your fault, but it's the facts we have to look at. Go ahead, the floor is yours.
Great. Well, good morning. Thank you guys for taking the time to allow us to come before you today and kind of give you an overall budget update of where we are with the effects of COVID-19 and kind of what it's done to our department. As I mentioned, I'm Jennifer, and then Dave Hill is our treasurer on our board, and he'll go over bits and pieces of our financial information as well. So I will. And can you see? Does everyone have the PowerPoint?
Jennifer, it's up on the screen now. I have it on.
Yes, I see it.
I can also make you the presenter if you'd rather do it.
Can the Commissioners Compton and Hudson, are you seeing the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay. So I will turn it over to Dave here for slide number 2.
Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, Jennifer and I are gonna try to mix this up a little bit between us here as we go through about a dozen slides or so. I'm gonna try to cover some of the financial numbers. Jennifer's gonna cover some of the participation and numbers from the community, participation or non-availability to participate or non-eligibility to participate. So to kick us off here, as you see, I'm an optimistic person. I know someone said before we started, oh boy, the news is going to be bad, right? So a lot of red numbers here. And I think it's important to note as a treasurer and how the Parks and Recs is run is we are a numbers-based organization. Okay, we base our numbers not only on the financials, but also the impacts, the positive impacts to the community and being able to adapt and provide those to the community. So, my side of it is the number side. Jennifer's going to talk about the people side, but they're both correlated, directly as it relates to our organization. So a couple of big points we're going to focus on are the programs, facility rentals, and hotel motel. Our programs are down, as you can see, significantly, $321,000. Hotel motels down, and the facilities are down. These are some of our biggest, operating revenue income streams aside from what we get from the county commission. And when these go down, it obviously reflects, as Jennifer's going to show you, the lack of participation, in this case because of the pandemic, the ability to participate. These numbers also hurt the net revenue we'd get from our expenses, our income and expenses for operating the Parks and Recs. And you're going to see later throughout this presentation that we have taken some financial action to offset these indifferences that we're experiencing in this period due to the pandemic. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Jennifer.
So as everyone can see here, and kind of to follow up with what Dave said, we had pretty high hopes for last fiscal year. We had increased our overall income for programming at the goal of hitting a $500,000 mark for our programming last year, and also increased our facility rental goal to $125,000, which is a significant portion of our budget. But as you can see, we did not hit that goal. COVID hit at a time when we generate the largest portion of our revenue. So when it hit us in March, that's when we start taking in, the vast majority of the monies for over the summer months. And then those monies get us through the down months of, the fall and the winter. So we were, again, $320,000 down in program revenue and $67,000 down on facility rentals from our budget goal listed there. So I think programming was about 35% and facility rentals were down about 45% for last fiscal year.
All right. So hotel motel tax is probably one of our bigger revenue streams that we receive. And I'm just putting up here a comparison between fiscal 19 and fiscal 20. And many of you know the story, so I don't have to get into the granular details of this, but the ability of the hotels not having, people come in and stay, or the ability to do that is directly hurt our revenue stream. We're down about, we were $117,000 in Q4 of fiscal 19. We're at just about 31,000 for fiscal 20 Q4. It doesn't look better. I mean, if I had to say this, it doesn't look like it's going to get better, at least for the next several months. So with that said, we don't project that, Q1 of 2021 is going to be any better. The balance of Q4 here is going to be any better. And that's just reality. That's not us just whining and crying. That's just reality based on what we've experienced thus far and what we see, what we can foresee as it relates to this pandemic. Next slide, Jennifer. So what does that number mean to us? It means we're down about we're projecting down about 60% from last year when we do the comparative. If you had to kind of level it out and look at the overall year, and again, basing off the factors we kind of know, what we've experienced, and doing a short look ahead, it means we're going to be down about 50% from hotel motel projection for the upcoming year. Next slide.
So I just want to touch base a little bit and let you guys know kind of where we were with programming and what we're doing with programming currently. So as you can see, in the summer of 2019, we offered 231 programs. We canceled 23 programs, which is about 10% of what we offer. And, you know, 2,800 citizens were served from their summer camps, and then total revenue was about $226,000. Now, if you compare that to this past summer, we had planned to offer 253 programs. Again, that's about, you know, in March and April, when we had to close in March, we would have been generating the revenue and setting up to run those programs. Instead, we were shut down, you know, by the state, and were not able to reopen until June. So of those 253 programs, we ended up canceling 175 of those, which is, you know, 69% of what we offered. You know, a drastic decrease, and we only served 497 citizens in the camps. And then we actually had a negative revenue effect at that time because we had issued so many refunds in the fourth quarter from when we shut down. It took a while to get back up to the point where we were regenerating there. And I do want to point out that even though, you know, we've served 497 citizens in our camps and our activities, but the parks never shut down and were increasingly busy during this time period. So even though we weren't able to open and run summer camps and programs, people were using the parks, you know, as much as they could during that time. Currently, we are in our fall season. And again, I have a comparison report to show you, you know, last fall we offered 219 programs. This fall we offer 134. So last summer we had 45 programs canceled. This fall we had 24 programs canceled. Now take into consideration too that we offered, you know, over 100 less programs this fall as to last. You can see our citizens served number, you know, is still way down, you know, 1,800 to the 587 that we're serving currently. And our revenue is down as well because we haven't been able to offer as many programs. The next slide is adaptability. So even though, you know, things were grim and we definitely had, you know, large revenue shortfalls, we did adapt quickly. And, you know, as soon as we were closed down, my board met weekly during that time period there in March, most of March and even into April. And we immediately cut expenses. So if there was something that we could cut, we cut it right off the bat in March. When we shut down, we laid off all of our part-time staff. They are still laid off. We still do not have any part-time staff or very minimal part-time staff working. There's no part-time staff working in the community center at all at this point. It's just the 5 full-time staff members that are running the facility. We're currently open 6 days a week, you know, all day from about 8 a.m. till 10 p.m. And we are working that out between the 5 staff here. We were able to bring in a few seasonal maintenance staff just to help keep the grass mowed, but that was all very limited, working less than 20 hours a week, and they are all gone now as well. So right now, like I said, we have no part-time staff currently working. We limited our maintenance in the parks wherever we could. Grass grew. You know, anyone that if anyone had been out to use Sam Michaels Park, you know, we were keeping trails mowed and paths mowed for the public to use, but, you know, the amphitheater field, for instance, grew. We actually pulled hay off of that. So we let areas of the park that could grow. And we are still doing that now as well. We explored other funding options, which Dave will talk about here with you in a minute. And then we've also applied for any grants and assistance that we could find.
All right, back to me. So what did we do? We didn't just sit around and hide out, you know, and go into deep depression. We took action, as Jennifer said. We not only reduced our expenses immediately, met weekly, or reduced our expenses, but also met weekly and just continued to chisel away at plans and adapt as we could, week by week, day by day. Our team applied for the SBA PPP loan. We received that. We utilized that throughout the period here. We exhausted those funds in August. That was very beneficial. We do not expect that to have to be repaid. We also recently applied for the EIDL loan, the Economical Impact Disaster Loan, and received that. That money, I want to make sure everyone understands, and I think I spoke about this in our last update here, that is not operating revenue. That is not for payroll. That is not this fund. We've actually set up a separate account. It is explicitly for us to continue to adapt. So for example, if we have to buy a fence or have to buy a check-in station or have to adapt so we can get our programs back up and running, that is explicitly what this fund is for. It is not operating revenue. It is a non-asset based loan. We do have to repay that loan. Right now, we also use that fund, as I said, to adapt under the CARES Act. So when we expend something out of that fund, we immediately, perform that service or perform that, retrofit or infrastructure we need, and we then send that and apply for it under the CARES Act. So we have already received some money back from the CARES Act and have several requests in. Our hopes is to continue to do that all the way through the end of December, where we're eligible to do that. Thus far, we have not been denied any submission to the CARES Act that we follow through on. So, in short, we have taken action where we thought there was conduits and avenues for us to do so. Thus far, we have not come to the county commission, except for today, to request funds from the county. But we wanted to demonstrate that we've been responsible and have taken all the action we can, both physically to reduce costs, to try to keep programs running, to try to turn programs back on and be a support to the community and be financially responsible. Next slide.
So what the Parks and Rec of the future looks like is going to be very, very different from what the Parks and Rec department of the past has been. We were able to reopen, and the Jefferson County Community Center did reopen at 40% capacity on June 29th. We are still only allowed to operate at 40% capacity, so that number has not changed since June. So, what that means is, any programs, let's say we had 20 kids in a program before, we can't do that now. So all of those program numbers are very limited as to what we're able to offer. So our preschool that is usually full with, 18 to 20 kids, is cut off at this point at 10 kids in our preschool program. So those numbers, we're staying very, very strict on and making sure that we're following the guidelines that have been put out by the state. So we are currently open and offering programs, but again, at reduced capacity. We are holding outside programs as much as possible. We had been very, very fortunate, with the exception, I guess, of today. We've had great weather and we've been able to hold things outside. So, our preschool program, even though they check into the community center, they spend a majority of their time outside during the morning for their classes. The same with any of our sports programs that we're able to offer outside. All of that is being offered outside at this point. With the weather changing, that will not be able to continue. We will have to bring programs back inside the building. Which means we're going to have to make decreases in the programs that we're offering this winter and spring. We're currently working on our winter program guide now, and it's about 60% less programming than we've offered in the past in the winter months, just because we don't have the space. We can't. Normally, we could run 2 programs at the same time in the gymnasium. A dance class on one side and a gymnastics class on the other. But at this time, we're not able to do that. We have to basically open that gym to the full program. So, gymnastics is now taking over a full space that would not. Schools are not available. We were notified that we would not be able to use any school facilities this current school year due to COVID restrictions, which affects a lot of the leagues that we've run. We've run a soccer league in the past, and we've been able to use the schools for games and practices, and we're not able to do that this year. So that league will not be able to run. Again, programs are being offered at lower numbers, but our costs are still staying the same. So even though we have to take, less kids in a program, we still have to pay the instructors. We still have the overhead of the staff. We still have the other costs that aren't changing. So, our goal on any program we run is to generate a 30% cost rate recovery. And we are still making that effort wherever possible, but it's much harder to get to that 30% when you have a lot less participants in programs. The other thing that affects us is after many discussions with the health department, Parks and Rec kind of falls under that category where in some cases we're exempt from things and in some cases we're not. And, programming is not necessarily something that we are going to be able to continue if the county went ahead. So if the schools shut down and things start going south, the Parks and Rec department, at least our programming side of it, will have to make adjustments and possibly, close down and suspend programming at that time. In that effort, we are working very hard this winter, spring, and it's going to be a lot less programs. But we're really looking to offer programs that we feel are the safest for the community that, maybe wouldn't have to be shut down as quickly as other things. And that's something we kind of had to go through that a little bit last week when the threat of kind of gold and orange were out there as to what we were able to do. But we've been working with the health department and very successfully ran a Halloween trick-or-treat trail last weekend at the park. The 165 children that is over the course of a day and a half. So, I think we're definitely want to do things that we love. We're excited to offer, hopefully, again, if the weather holds out here and the colors stay in the normal range, we're going to have a movie night tomorrow night at the park, which makes us very happy. We want to get back to doing what we love, and we want to offer these things to the community safely. So our mission staying the same. We are going to continue to provide, year-round recreational opportunities to the community, in the safest way that we're able to do so. We have changed our approach on many things. We're looking at what we can do and start those next practices. We're offering virtual programming when we can, smaller programming groups. Our mobile recreation van has made more stops this summer than ever before. Again, focused on outside, distancing kids and families to do things. We are planning, like I mentioned, we just had our Halloween event, and we are planning to have a Christmas event that has been completely redesigned. So our staff has had to take things that we've done in the past have been thrown out the window. We've had to completely reevaluate and recreate events that we've done in the past. So, our Christmas event this year, it's always been inside. We've always, had 300 to 400 kids come out to that event. This year, those numbers have been cut in half, and we can have 120 children, and everything will be outside. Outdoor activities are going to continue to be paramount. Anywhere that we can offer an outdoor event or a space that we can offer an outdoor event will have to be the way of our future. We are in the process now of having a pavilion installed directly beside the Jefferson County Community Center that will hopefully allow additional programming that'll be offered, and for our preschool to use the space, over the course of the spring that'll be coming to hopefully, again, get more programs outside and more possibilities outside. That is something that we are looking to have the CARES Act, asking for reimbursement from the CARES Act with that. Like I mentioned before, we generate 60% revenue, over the summer months, and that revenue is what drives this department and what gets us through the fall and winter months. So with the large losses that we saw in revenue, it's scary to think about where we'll be potentially, this time next year. We won't be able to sustain with continuing the losses that we've seen in the past. Costs are going to continue to go up. We are cleaning 3 to 4 times a day, purchasing supplies that we've, never have had to have done before, and putting a huge strain on our staff. Again, we do not have any staff. So it's full-time staff that is answering phones, taking registrations at the window, cleaning throughout the day. And, in the past, these same staff have been able to, apply for grants and do a lot of other things in the past. And time is just, it's hard to come by when you're off, in the office trying to get things done and the phone rings constantly. So, we're working through all of that, but we don't see any signs that that's going to change in the immediate future. The community wants and needs our help. We have had numerous calls, what happens if the school shut down? And, people are wanting and expecting Parks and Rec to step up and meet needs of care. They're expecting us to run camps and programs to help them. People want to get outside. Like I mentioned, we had a very successful Halloween event this past weekend, and the number of residents that came to that and just were so thankful that we even tried to do anything. They're so appreciative, and it shows that the community wants to support what we're trying to do.
All right. I think this is our last slide, so we'll have you guys home before tomorrow. Don't worry. Anyhow, so last slide here, really, I'm not going to read it word for word, but as you've heard through here, we are again accountable to the numbers. We're accountable to the community, and we want to make sure that we continue to provide services of high quality as much as we feasibly can throughout this challenging time. I've written a couple words in here: respectfully and responsibly requesting $160,000 to overcome the negative operations. I want to be clear, and I'll restate what I told my board last week. If I'm not asking for this money or stating this amount based on just asking for the sky and hoping for something less. Okay. I told my board, I'm not your guy. I'm not going to go into this meeting requesting something enormous without looking at the facts. So I've gotten with our accountant over the past several weeks, and we've run this from a high level to a granular level from March through September of our fiscal 19 year and our current year. And the numbers are the numbers. So it says $160,000. If you want me to get to the decimal place, the math says $159,708.77. So I've run the comparison. And I'm confident with what we're presenting to you here today that comparison, that is based off the numbers that is reported, we're audited on. These are not just, again, wish list. I told my board it would be irresponsible for us to just request an amount of money without the proper backup and merit, but also we don't want to take money from someone else who may be in need as well. Okay, so that would be irresponsible of us to do that. That would be a further negative impact to the residents. Throughout this, and I'm sure we've given you updates, and we know many of you outside of this meeting, our board and our leadership at the Parks and Recs has just proven we can manage during an unplanned crisis. We can reduce expenses, and we can specifically and always focus our attention to adapt for the residents of Jefferson County. We continue to be a responsible member and contributor to the county, and we trust that you'll have strong consideration for our request of $160,000. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Commissioner Tabb, this is Commissioner Compton. Can I say something since I'm the liaison at Parks and Rec? I think you're on mute.
She's nodding yes.
Yeah, I'm going to take that as a yes.
Yes.
So, I just want to, I've been trying to do my best also as keeping the commissioners updated with what's going on at Parks and Rec over the past several months. I just want to, as a liaison to Parks and Rec and obviously at their board meetings, I just want to echo Dave and Jennifer. This board has done a phenomenal job being very proactive, cutting costs where it was hard to do. I've seen some very heated discussions at the board at several occasions over cost cutting measures, but they've got it done. They've done it well. And this request, although it looks very large, it's much smaller than it possibly could be without those efforts on behalf of the Parks and Rec board. So I just want to point that out and just say that they've done a phenomenal job in a terrible environment.
Okay, thank you. Other questions or comments from commissioners?
Well, this is Patsy, and I'll go next. And listen, there is no question in my mind that you all have done a phenomenal job. And thank you for the work that you've done. You know, the pay isn't much, but the effort is 5,000%, and I know that. And nobody appreciates that any more than I do, and I know my fellow commissioners do. We see the good work that you do every day. You know, and where I'm coming from on this is, you know, as I sat here listening to your presentation, I was thinking, you know, the county commission can ditto everything you've said about less revenue, but the expenses are the same. You know, our revenue is down to gaming is not what it was. You know, we've lost a considerable amount. We're still trying to operate county government within the budget that we've set, and that budget included gaming revenue. And you know, we're really struggling about what we're going to do to get to the end of the year. We've all had to change things and reevaluate how we do business and how we do things. And as far as the hotel motel, everybody that receives hotel motel is in the same boat you are. You know, I sit on the Convention and Visitors Bureau board, and they're trying to build, you know, of course, all that started. They're trying to build and finish their visitor center. And that's been a real struggle because then COVID happened. So I don't know. I would love to be able to find some revenue for you. I don't see how it can be $160,000. And I would have to hear from Michelle. You know, you know, I really have a lot of heartburn about this because we have to be able to plan for the rest of the year. And we don't know where that's going to lead us. So, you know, as much as I would love to say yes to you right now, I can't do it without hearing from our financial director, you know, about the position that the county is in right now. So that's all I have to say at this point.
Comments from other commissioners?
Well, I had a general question. The 160,000, I know you say you don't know what spring and summer will bring, but is this to get you to March, or is it just to get you to the end of December?
It's to get us through March. If I was to project that, and again, we've looked at this, it's a great question. We've looked at this and said, what did we learn from March, April, May, right? What did we learn from that? Then we looked at it we've actually looked at it in 1 month increments, 3 month increments, a year increments, and we've projected out what we now know based on what we have stabilized as our expenses and stabilized as our income. And when you look at it all, it ends up being about the same number. So that number does go through March 2021. Yes.
Okay. All right.
So if you wanted to know what it was today, or you wanted to know what that number is today, I'll gladly tell you what it is as of end of September. The end of September 2020, the number is $93,163.45. Again, we've gotten very granular in this, so we could tell you by the month what it is. On an average, it's about a $13,309.06 impact on a month, if you look at it from a linear aspect.
And
Okay.
I'm here to answer questions, and I just kind of wanted to discuss the surplus that we had.
Yes, this is Michelle speaking, correct?
Yeah. Yes. I just wanted to remind everyone that at the end of fiscal year 20, I just presented those financial statements to you. We actually had a surplus that was a result of two things. One was the CARES Act funding that we're receiving from the state pretty much made us whole last fiscal year. In addition to that, I did not make the transfers to the to the capital outlay fund of a little over $1 million. And I carried that forward into the current fiscal year just so that we could be sure that we were not in a bad position throughout the fiscal year. So far in fiscal year 21, the CARES Act has reimbursed us and pretty much made us whole as far as expenditures go versus any revenues that we've lost. So far in fiscal year 21, we're not seeing any impact or detrimentally as a result of COVID. And we do have our fund balance that we carried forward from the prior year as a result of those transfers that we did not make. I don't believe that this would qualify, or at least the 160,000 would qualify as a use of our whole severance fund because it's primarily related to salaries.
Right.
I would recommend that if you choose to approve it, that we would make it a one-time contribution for fiscal year 21, and that we would reduce our transfers to the coal severance or to the capital outlay fund for fiscal year 21 for that carry forward that we didn't contribute the last fiscal year. Because it is still in the general fund, it still has not been allocated, it's still part of fund balance. And then if you do choose to fund the pavilion, I think they have requested that if it does not qualify for CARES Act funding, which I think it will, they want to make sure that they're, not in the hole by $20,000 or $25,000. That is something that we could provide contingent funding for out of the coal severance fund, contingent upon grant approval or denial. And then if it was denied, we would help with that. So those would be the two funding options that I would recommend if you choose to approve it. I do think that it's worthwhile to support our component units above any other units, and they are a component unit of the county.
Thank you, Michelle, for those comments. I am, I understand where Parks and Recs are, and I really appreciate the financial analysis down to the penny. That means a lot to me and I know you've taken cost cutting measures, and it's just been a tough year for everyone. And I've heard Michelle's recommendations. However, I am pretty cautious with money. I would like to, I want to help. I hope the commission can help, but I've got to see those numbers in black and white and have some time to study them before I'm ready to vote on any funding for Parks and Rec. And I know you're struggling. That's goes without saying, even though I am saying it. I have grandchildren that have participated in your programs, and they certainly miss those this summer. And I know you've got a tough row to hoe. I just need to sit down and look at the numbers, and I'm sure Michelle can come up with a document that explains it, what she has presented to us verbally, but I've just got to see it because we have some unknowns facing us. I mean, we don't know if there'll be more CARES funding next year or what's going to happen. So I think we've got to look at all the challenges in front of us.
Okay, I can do that. I can get those numbers ready and present them next week at the next session.
Well, let me see what my fellow commissioners want to do, because I'm only one.
This is Commissioner Compton, and there's no one more on this commission concerned about financials than me. And I'll be frank, I'm not willing to throw Parks and Rec under a bus when they've been very proactive and the benefit to the community they provide is extensive, especially during a pandemic. And there is not much for families or young children to do in the community as it is. So I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to move we approve the $160,000 to overcome the COVID impacts of 2019 and the current fiscal year period of 2020, and contingent $25,000 to the pavilion if the CARES Act is not covered. And that's my motion.
Well, this is Patsy, and I'll second it for discussion purposes. So, this is really difficult because I understand the need. There's no question about that. I understand the need. But then I also look at the condition of the building, of our own buildings, and when are we going to address those things? It's the brick dust or mortar is falling out of some of them. There's so much work that needs to be done to our buildings, and I don't know what the future is going to hold for that. We are, we have discussed this so many times, and that is my biggest concern. So, I would be willing to give them the 25,000 for an additional for the additional pavilion. If the CARES Act doesn't fund it, I'd be willing to go that route. But in good conscience, when I look at what the needs are of the county buildings and the condition they're in, I can't in good conscience support $160,000 for the Parks and Rec. Don't misunderstand. It's a great use for a wonderful program, but this is really tough. And I think at some point, the commission is going to have to determine what you're going to do about the bad shape of the buildings that we have in town. So that's where I am on this.
Other commissioners? You're
There's
muted. You're muted,
There we
Ralph.
go.
There
Yeah,
you
I
go.
think they're back on. In a quandary, it's, we're going to get hit by other groups before the end of the year, from fire departments to libraries as such. But I do think it's an essential service for the youth of the community. Let me ask a question. When will this pavilion be built, and when will it start functional? I know we talked about a pavilion, but I don't even know where you're putting it as far as that goes.
So it is going, excuse me, it is going directly beside the community center on one of the pads that was laid out when the building was built. So it will go between the community center and the playground, if you're familiar with the park. It has been ordered. So we are in the process. We're waiting for the building permits to get approved from the county level. And as soon as it arrives and we have that building permit, it will be installed. So they were given the deadline. It has to be done by December 1st. And then we can start using those, immediately, as long as the weather is suitable. We've actually have some propane heaters that Home Depot gave to us a year or two ago. So we're able to use some of those and do some things outside as soon as we have that cover over us. So, as soon as they get it installed, which we're hoping is, by December.
Yeah, I'd feel more confident doing the 160 if I knew the new CARES Act, or whatever Congress is going to call it, is definitely approved. My view now is I would agree to 80,000 to cover to the end of the year, with the hope that something would get passed and then approve the other 80,000 at that point.
I'm willing to amend my motion to approve 80,000 to the end of year, contingent upon looking at it after the new year, the other 80,000.
I have a question about that. Does that include the 25? I think the $25,000 will help because they'll be able to utilize that for additional programs, I think, which may help with their income. Am I off base with that, Mr. Hill?
I think you guys are maybe mixing two different things here. The pavilion is, right now we're in a situation where we can use our, economical emergency fund to fund the building, on the risk that, it's going to be recovered under the CARES Act. So,
okay.
And again, we were able to move forward with the building. We feel confident, given our experience with the CARES Act. We think we're going to get covered on the building. So we're just making you aware, if you see a $25,000 expense on our ledger, that we've taken that risk. Okay. And we may have to come back to you and say, we gambled wrong. Okay. We don't believe we have. Okay. But it is not a certainty. The 160 is purely, net revenue, income from expenses and income. That's really what it is. Okay, and that's really impacts we're going to see for operational purposes. So the pavilion's going to be something we're going to take a risk so we can expand programs outside and continue to increase our programs versus declining them. But they're two separate issues.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't understand that you were going to go. I thought you were requesting that so you could build a.
No, we're pressing forward.
They just want contingent approvals, just in case it's not approved by CARES Act. They don't want to be in the whole $25,000, which is why.
I didn't realize you were just going to go ahead.
And again, I don't have that in my evaluation, my down to the decimal point evaluation. That is purely based on, and just so you know, on my evaluation, I've thrown out the outliers of grant expenses and grant income. So I've thrown out those in that because that would throw off the evaluation.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, I missed. It looked like everybody's screens froze except for mine, but maybe I was frozen. I don't know.
Okay, any other commissioner comments or discussion for the motion that's currently under consideration?
Well,
I just want a clarification. Did Josh actually amend his motion to go through the end of the year?
well, I said I'd be willing to amend my motion. So I was kind of looking for feedback before doing so. But I'm gonna keep my motion as is, and if it fails or passes, if another commissioner would like to amend and make their own motion, that's their prerogative. But I'm gonna hold mine as is.
Okay.
And as is at 160,000 plus the 25,000 if it's not reimbursed through CARES funding. Is that correct?
That's correct, and I'm making that motion based upon what we heard from the financial director and our status financially as a county.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm just going to reiterate my comments. Previous comments. I just have heartburn doing this without seeing the financial figures myself in black and white. I want to do it, but I've got to be responsible to the entire county. So that's where I'm at, and I know we're all in a difficult position. Any other comments on the motion?
Well, this is Patsy, and I'll move that we table this until the next meeting and until we get the information that you've asked for.
Okay.
I mean, well, for point of order, there's a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. I think we need a vote, and then you can subsequently make another motion if you'd like.
No, the motion to table takes precedence, and I'm going to second that motion to table pending further information. So, so we'll vote on tabling the motion.
Just a reminder, we do have a meeting next week, so it's.
Yeah, it won't be 2 weeks, it'll be 1 week, right? The motion to table, the current motion that's been proposed by Commissioner Compton. All those in favor of tabling till our next meeting, say aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
Okay. The motion to table carries 3-2. And please, Parks and Rec, don't think that's a no. It is not, in my opinion. I just have to run the numbers as carefully as Mr. Hill has run the numbers.
I can appreciate your diligence.
With all due respect, Commissioner Tabb, I mean, we do have a financial director that works for the county full time and has just presented those numbers to us. So I'm just curious as to what numbers still need to be run.
I understand that, Mr. Compton, and you know I'm terribly old-fashioned. I have to see it in black and white.
As did I.
Thank you. Okay, thank you both.
And I just want to say, with all due respect to our financial director, she's not the one that gets to vote on these things.
Yeah. So
that's fine. I mean, she knows far in depth the granular numbers than we as commissioners do at a very high level policy making standpoint.
No question about it.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Thank you.
And Ms. Myers. I know you're working hard, and I do appreciate it.
Thank
And
you.
likewise, thank you.
Okay, we were running ahead and now we're behind, but that's the way of
Jane,
life.
I would make sure that this is put on the agenda for next week.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Stephanie's shaking her head yes, so, okay. Agenda item number 7, Mr. Goodwin and Mr. Fagan. Fagan. Are you folks on? I see Todd.
Can you hear me well enough?
Was that
Audio
Roger?
good? No, I'm presenting Roger's. Hey, there's Roger.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So we have presenting Todd Fagan, and Roger Goodwin is also online. Floor is yours.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you very much for this chance to be on your agenda to talk about an important project. In your last meeting, Chief Deputy Fletcher presented the grant application that the sheriff is presenting to the West Virginia State Records Management and Preservation Board for shelving. The Department of Engineering, Planning and Zoning is piggybacking on that effort by requesting equipment and personnel to support our ongoing land development records management project. I'd like to give a very brief background on that project and why it's important. So since 1975, the department has maintained paper records of building permits totaling 36,000 individual files. And if you haven't seen a building permit, this is a typical file. It's got application in there and inspections and correspondence and building plans in large format and everything you need to issue a use and occupancy certificate for a structure. So we're averaging 800 of these per year over 45 years. And we have a similar volume of subdivision and zoning records going back to 1972 and 1988 respectively. Frankly, we're running out of room in the basement with full file cabinets and banker's boxes like these full of these files that I just showed you. There's hundreds of these boxes downstairs. So 3 years ago, we adopted and implemented an online electronic records management system called My Government Online. The system allows us to generate and keep digital files. It helps us keep projects on track throughout the review process, and it enables us to have email communication and online payments with the customer. Since we started using this software, staff has been scanning documents, scanning applications up front going forward and putting them into the system. But there remains a heavy backlog of these archived paper files that are continually at risk of loss due to flooding, fire, or risk of misplacement. They're time consuming to identify and collect or during research and FOIA inquiries. So scanning these records, I think we all agree, will increase overall staff efficiency, accuracy, and ultimately provide quicker response to the citizen. So with a few staff digitizing when they can, in addition to their regular duties, we've been able to backscan about 50% of this backlog over the last 3 years. So, and again, thank you for earlier authorizing the advertisement for the planning clerk, because those recent departures have put a dent in our scanning productivity, because 2 of those positions that we lost were important to the scanning project. So in order to expedite completion of the project, we're applying for this grant to the West Virginia State Records Management and Protection Board and requesting funding for 2 scanners and a temporary full-time internship position. We've been working with hand-me-down scanners, which have met our needs, but are nearing the end of their life and will require more and more IT support. The replacement scanners will be faster, of higher quality, and more reliable. The temporary position will follow the model of our 4-month GIS internships that we've had in the past, and will be dedicated to scanning, quality assurance, and input of these records. So with these things, we hope to shave 12 to 18 months off our estimated completion target date, and then move on to the daunting task of planning and zoning records. So the department's responsibility, and mine as the project manager, is to comply with all grant deadlines, purchasing and requirement reporting requirements. The commission's responsibility is to provide internal IT support and at least 10% cash match for each dollar awarded by the Records Management Protection Board. That 10% match is expected to be $1,410 during fiscal year 2022. I believe that's when the work has to be done and when the funding starts. So we'll know by next month if we failed in the first go round of application reviews. If we get past that, the notice of awards happen in February. This application has to be postmarked by November 1st. So Commissioner Tab, I'm hoping I can, if this is, excuse me, if it's successful, I'm hoping I can get your signature on a few pages later today or no later than tomorrow.
Right. I'll be in
And,
town to do that.
Great. So that's all I have at this moment. If anybody has any questions.
My question is it says a county commission match is for the 10%, which is $1,004. Is that in PZ&E's budget currently, or are you looking for additional funding for the match?
The maximum amount, depending on how much they approve, would be $1,410 out of our next budget. So I think you would have to account for it in the next budget year. So when you're meeting in February and March, you have to put this in the fiscal year 2022 budget.
Okay.
I don't believe it comes out of our current budget. And if it did, Roger, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we can handle that.
Is that correct, Roger? You feel there's funding there if the match needs to come out of the current budget?
I think so, because we've been on a spending freeze. The finance director won't let us spend any money. So, but I think what Todd's saying is if this project actually doesn't start until fiscal year 2022, that we want to get an additional $1,410 allocated in the budget for this project.
Okay. All right. I understand. And it may come due, current budget year may come due next budget year. Yeah. Okay. Well, and I do think with the 2 employees being that have left this department and we're hiring 1 to replace, there may be some wiggle room there in the current budget if it needs to happen this year, needs to be paid this year.
Correct.
All right. Any other comments or questions from commissioners? All righty. Let's see.
Well, I do have a question, Jane. Do the
Okay.
old files get disposed of, or are we still going to keep the old files?
We haven't, we're working on a policy where we can dispose of old files. We haven't finalized that yet with legal counsel. The state does not have a record schedule for these specific type of land development records. Our proposal is to keep the last 7 years in hard copy and digital, but beyond that, if the policy is approved, we would QA and inspect these records, make sure they're functional in digital format, and then shred them with the maintenance department.
Yeah. I was thinking you just need to, I know it's tedious, but go back and make sure they were all copied, or scanned. Yeah. And it is tedious no matter how you do it, but all right. Okay.
Well, I make a motion.
Go ahead, Patsy.
Motion to approve the records management grant application, the amount of $14,090, and pass the associated resolution of support and authorize the president to sign the necessary documents.
Second.
Okay. All right. Motion is before us. Do we have any more questions, discussion? The motion is to approve I'm just doing the initials. Well, it's Record Management Preservation Board grant application in the amount of $14,090 and pass the associated resolution of support. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I'll be in this afternoon to sign.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Okay.
much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you both. All right. 11:30, Miss Value.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, so the first item on here, I'm requesting a refund for a variance application on behalf of Nicholas Derrick. As you're aware, the state auditor requires that we deposit all funds within a certain time frame. So we had deposited his check when he submitted his application, and then further discussions, he decided he could revise his proposal to meet the setback. So he no longer needs the variance.
Okay.
And he did withdraw it prior to us submitting the legal ad into the Spirit of Jefferson. So there were no fees incurred there for the county. So on his behalf, we're requesting the refund of a full $100.
Okay. Well, I'll move that we do a total refund of a zoning variance fee in the amount of $100 to Nicholas Derrick.
Second.
Okay. Are there any questions or discussion on the motion? All those in favor of granting the total refund of the zoning variance of $100 fee to Nicholas Derrick, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, next.
All right, thank you. So there are two text amendments. The first one is file ZTA 20-01. That is a request or a petition rather for a text amendment to allow commercial cemeteries to process as a conditional use in the rural zoning district. They're already permitted by right in the commercial zoning districts. So we've left the text just to acknowledge that. So all of the text that's being proposed currently is to allow these cemeteries to process in the rural zoning district by a conditional use permit. The Planning Commission has made a recommendation that the proposed text is consistent with the comprehensive plan. So the request to you today is to schedule a public hearing on the proposed text. Similar to the last text amendment that processed, the County Commission is required to hold a public hearing within 60 days. I understand there's some concerns for the timing of this. This text amendment has been processing before the Planning Commission since June. They held a couple of informational meetings to discuss it amongst themselves. They held a public hearing, which they left the comment period open for 2 weeks. There was only one public comment received on this. And that's all the information I have for you at this time.
Okay. So when do we need, what's the limitation on the timing of when we have to hold a public hearing?
I would recommend that you just hold it at the same time you're holding the other public hearings, because as Alex pointed out, this has already been, unlike the one that we just dealt with, this one has already been through that process to a certain extent. And, you know, the public is well aware of this one and the other one we're going to discuss.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to.
And the commission's not required to take action within those 60 days. It would be holding a public hearing, and then if you decide you want to hold additional work sessions afterwards, you know, that's
you're right.
acceptable.
Okay, and and hopefully that would just get more people interested if we have more items to consider at the same time. So
yeah, that makes sense. To try to do them all at the same time, and that makes sense.
Well, we'll make the motion first and pass it, and then talk about logistics. Okay. Well, and you said this was ZTA 20-01.
Yeah, I went with that's the one that's pertaining to the commercial cemeteries.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I move we schedule a public hearing, and I can't remember the date that we selected.
It was December 3rd.
December 3rd.
Yes.
And I'm not going to set a time until we talk afterwards. I move to schedule a public hearing on December 3rd, 2020 to receive input on the draft text amendment to the Jefferson County zoning ordinance, file number ZTA 20-02, which proposes to, no, I'm reading the wrong one. Let's see. I'm reading the wrong motion here. No. Does anybody else want to take a stab on that? My papers aren't in order here.
If you want to hit share screen for me, I've got it pulled up on my screen. I don't know if that's an option.
Give me a second.
Okay.
You should have it now. Sorry, I didn't mean to sound short with that. I was just, it takes me a while to go through
That's
all
okay.
the clicks.
Well,
Can
I
you see
think
my screen then? Oh,
Well, there are two. Yeah.
yeah.
this is the first one. This is for ZTA 20-01. Do you see it?
Okay. Yeah, they're reversed on our agenda. So I think that's the confusion.
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
it's there.
Okay.
So I'll take a stab at it.
Thank you.
I move that we set a public hearing on December the 3rd with regard to the proposed text amendment to the zoning ordinance regarding commercial cemeteries, file ZTA 20-01. And I think that takes care of it.
Yeah. I'll second that motion. Do we have any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed?
To be consistent, I'll oppose.
Okay. So motion passes 4-1. Okay, thank you. All right, now what's the next one? Alex?
So your next one is file ZTA 20-02. This is a text amendment to revise Appendix C, which is the chart that lists your principal permitted and conditional uses, specifically for drive-through restaurants in the residential light industrial commercial zoning district, which are currently listed as a conditional use. The request would be to amend that chart to reflect it as a permitted use by right in that zoning district only. As part of the proposal, section 5.8C3, which is specific to the RLIC zoning district, would also be amended to eliminate reference to a conditional use for that land use.
Okay. Well, I'll try this time. I move to schedule a public hearing on December 3rd, 2020 to receive input on the draft text amendment to the Jefferson County zoning ordinance file ZTA 20-02, which proposes to allow drive-through restaurants to process by the right in the residential light industrial commercial zoning district.
Second.
All right. Any questions or discussion? One thing I'm a little concerned about doing these all at the same time. I don't know, we don't know how long the comments will, how much public comment we will get for each one, but I would prefer to schedule, you know, like one happens at, let's say 10 o'clock, and the next one starts at 11, and the third one, I don't want to receive comments on all three of them at the same time, but I don't know if that's possible logistically.
And I know that's a regular county commission meeting date. So
Yeah.
maybe we could schedule them in the afternoon, maybe 1:30.
And one at a time, perhaps?
Yes, and one at a time, yes.
That's what we usually do. We've had multiple hearings before, and we'll schedule them, you know. And the ones that were at the planning commission, we kind of have a gauge of how much public comment they're going to get based upon the public comment that they received at the planning commission. I think the other one that you guys voted on earlier in the meeting today will probably have more comment than the two that Alex is presenting here. So we'll schedule them individually, and, you know, before people make comment, we'll say, this is for this application, and, you if you're here
Right.
for one of the other ones.
Okay,
We'll
yeah,
comment at that time.
yeah. Okay, so we haven't voted on this last motion, I don't believe. So the motion
Right.
is before us to schedule a public hearing on December 3rd regarding file number ZTA 20-02 that allows drive-through restaurants to process by right in the residential light industrial commercial zoning district. Everybody ready to vote, or you have more questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'll be consistent, opposed.
Okay. So for the record, the motion passes with a 4-1 vote with Commissioner Lorenzetti in the opposition. Okay. Thank you very much, Alex.
Thank
Is
you.
that everything?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very
yeah.
much.
All righty. Okay. Now we're down to, let's see, Mr. Nathan Cochran, item number 9. He's got a long list and
I anticipate a couple of issues need to be dealt with on executive session, so I don't know if you want to finish everything else first.
okay. Yeah, I was just looking
You have
back
a
here.
couple of loose ends to tie up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if nobody objects, we'll do county commissioner, county administrator reports. I know Stephanie said that she's not going to do the policies today, but there was something else. Oh, building permit. Go ahead.
We have building permits for Parks and Rec, and one of them is the pavilion. You own those properties, and so the building permit requires the county commission to sign for them, and Parks and Rec cannot apply for them. They need, when they're, I mean, they've done the application, but they need you to sign as the property owner. So hold on, I'm pulling up here the applications, or not the applications, but what Jennifer sent me. So the first one is for the Sam Michaels, the pavilion. And then the other one is to install an art installation at the amp letters on at the pavilion, not the pavilion, but the outdoor amphitheater. So those are both at Sam Michaels. Those are both properties that the county commission is actually the record owner of. So you would need to approve them going forward with that building permit and authorize the president to affix her signature to the building application.
Okay. Well, I move that we, the county commission approves the building permits being submitted by the Parks and Recreation Commission.
Second.
Okay. Any questions or discussion on the motion?
I did have I didn't quite hear what the amp was being done for.
They're adding an art installation. I think they're just adding an art installation on the actual amphitheater there, but it still requires a building permit.
All right.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, discussion? The motion is to approve the Parks and Recreation building permit as presented by the county administrator. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I believe, I didn't hear everyone, but I believe that vote was unanimous. So that's why I'll put it on the record. So speak up if that's not correct. That vote was unanimous unless I hear otherwise. Okay. County Commissioner reports.
Commissioner Tab, quick thing for Stephanie. Stephanie, was there something going on with the clerk window or the window in the courthouse? You know what I mean? I guess the sheriff may have brought that up with the county clerk and you. about security in the window that something was being stored there?
So I got a phone call this morning as this meeting was starting, so I haven't had a chance to talk to anyone about that, but I am vaguely aware that the sheriff had requested additional security, but at this time, I don't even know what the issue is because I haven't had the opportunity to talk to someone because I was attending this meeting.
Okay,
But
I
I will call them back when the meeting is finished.
okay. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Any other commissioners have anything they want to share?
Well, I'm not going to share. I want to ask Patsy if she could update us on the broadband. I think there's meetings coming up and things.
There is a meeting coming up on November the 6th. The draft report is going to be presented at that time. And so it will be November the 6th virtually. So that's what's happening with the broadband.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners have any information they want to share? Well, hearing no one else, just saying, my committee meetings and so forth have been virtual, and one day I had like 3 or 4, and it just felt like it's pretty intense. But anyway, things got done. One thing I have been working on is liaisoning with our staff and independent fire department and so forth, trying to figure out how to do the virtual joint meeting on November 12th. I plan to attend virtually. I think ESA board members will be participating at independent as well as fire and rescue members. So we're trying to figure out what is needed at independent to make that happen. And, I'm not an IT person, but we've got independence IT specialists working on it. And I'm hoping our IT specialists, they'll be meeting and getting something going here.
So Russ is trying to connect with him. In the last email that I saw, they need some equipment at Independent, and I mean, I didn't think that we would pay to buy them a camera. I mean, I don't know, but it sounded like maybe there was an expectation that we would buy them the equipment that they needed.
Yeah, well, if they tell me what they need, I will buy it so that there's no problems of getting this meeting moving forward on the date that we had planned. And my cat is standing in front of the computer. So, but I don't know technically enough what to get. And, I have my daughter I can rely on too for finding the best price. So that's where I'm coming from on this. So
Is this virtual entirely, or is there an option in person, or is everybody virtual here?
what I think is planned is that the individuals that want to be at Independent Fire Department, that meeting will be broadcast virtually. So you can go there or you can do it from your home computer.
Okay, I'll plan on attending in person. That's just my prerogative.
If there's the opportunity to participate virtually, that's what I'm going to do.
Right. That's what I'm planning on doing too. It's a big room, and if everybody sits 6 feet apart, wears their masks, I think it should be fine at Independent. But I'm more comfortable from home.
And that's 7 p.m.?
I think we said 6:30, didn't we, Stephanie?
Okay.
6:30.
6:30, okay.
Okay.
Good thing I asked.
I have that as 7 too. I need to change it in my calendar.
But we haven't sent out the notice for it because it's still a little early, but we will send out a notice and you'll get a copy.
Great.
But it is 6:30.
Okay.
Stephanie, do you know if our IT has been able to connect with The IT guy from Independent?
I don't know. I know that he reached out to him. So they were
Okay.
exchanging emails back and forth. But I don't know if they've actually met on site to discuss what is needed to kind of facilitate.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I think the plan is to, you know, have a microphone that can cover the whole room, and then not a microphone, camera, and then have a microphone perhaps near a speaker stand. Not sure exactly what they're going to do at how to facilitate it at Independent, but I will be glad to carry that cost myself just to make sure this thing happens. So if Stephanie, if you can, I don't want to direct individual staff members except to ask you to keep me in the loop. And if there's some problem that I can help resolve, please let me know. All right. Any other commissioners have anything to report? Okay, so I guess we go back to Mr. Nathan, Mr. Cochran. Did we lose Nathan? Oh, no, we didn't lose him.
Takes a little while for
Yeah.
my little old computer to click around there. All right. With regard to my list, I am going to just report back to you regarding the solar text amendment bonding issue, which is the 1 to 3rd from the bottom. Just report back to you that we have been working on decommissioning and bonding plan. I've met with Roger and Alex, and Roger is putting some stuff together right now, and we're reviewing it and looking at it and stuff like that. So that's where we are with that. With regard to the very last item, the policing agreement with Bolivar, we've already basically discussed that under the sheriff.
Okay.
So I would I would waive all the other items on my list except for the second and third from the end, the discussion of the Department of the Interior inquiry and the discussion with council regarding the Charlestown City Council changes to Article 147. Both of those involve outside counsel. We have them ready to sign on, but they would both be matters, I believe, that would be dealt with in executive session because our outside counsel would be prepared to give you some legal advice. So that's where I am.
All right.
Nathan, have you spoken with Greg? Just he didn't respond.
Yes. One of our counsel is potentially he's traveling due to his other clients in a place where his cell phone is kind of spotty. I have talked with him 2 or 3 times this morning. He may be able to call us back. If not, I will just report to you where we are with that one regarding the Department of the Interior issue. Our counsel with regard to the Charlestown City Council issue is standing by.
Okay.
Well, I move we go into executive session to discuss a Department of Interior inquiry of Homeland Historic Landmarks Commission activity for docket number PCRNPS-04-20 and to receive legal advice, and also for discussion with council regarding Charlestown City Council changes to Article 147, also to receive legal advice.
Second.
All right. Motion before us is to go to an executive session to discuss 2 items on the agenda. The first one, Department of Interior inquiry of historic landmarks, docket number PCRNPS-04-20, and another second item, discuss with council regarding Charlestown City Council changes to Article 147, both to receive legal advice. All those in favor of the motion to go into executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So for the public, we will be leaving this meeting and going back to into our executive session format, which does not allow the public to participate. All righty.
James.
Okay.
So it looks like we have everyone. We have Josh.
Oh,
we have-
okay.
So it looks like all of the county commissioners are back. We have Will. Oh, we can see you, Will. And we're waiting if you wanted to wait for Nathan.
Are we waiting for Nathan?
I don't know that you need to.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to be clear.
Don't tell him I said that, but.
I know. I will make the motion that we come out of executive session and go back into regular session.
Second.
All right. The motion before us is to come out of executive session and reconvene in regular session. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. I'm having trouble here. My cat's blocking my screen here. There. All right, she laid down. That helps. Okay. They have, well, I'll make the motion that legal counsel proceed as discussed during executive session regarding the Charlestown City Council's changes to Article 147.
Second.
All right. All those in, everybody understand the motion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Aye. All right. We had a real delay there. I just want to, I'm going to do that again because I didn't hear many responses. All those in favor of the motion to proceed as discussed during executive session regarding Charlestown City Council changes to Article 147, say aye.
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 Aye. All right. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. There you go, Mr. Rohrbaugh.
Thank you.
All right. Yes. Okay. Is there any other business that I may have missed or needs to come before us today? I think we've covered all our bases.
I move we adjourn.
All right.
Second.
All right. The motion before us is to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. My cat just bit me. She's getting tired of this. So we'll see you in a week.
That's right.
Not before. Okay. Take care. I think it stopped raining too.
Good
so,
weekend.
Yes.
too.
All right.
Stay dry.
Yeah. All righty. Bye-bye.